Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can paint this gorgeous beach scene with a sandpiper bird by waves and seafoam at the shore in acrylic paint, step by step on canvas. Now that we've set everything for the algorithm here, the humans, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to paint this image here. I'm going to break it down step by step. I'm going to explain every technique. I'm going to encourage you the whole way through. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to help me help you get this painting done by making sure the camera is really pointed at and looking at the techniques and the things that I'm demonstrating and teaching. He's going to make sure you can see the palette the whole time, and sometimes he helps me with the live chat. So this is a live show. I will be painting this here live today, and it's not a rehearsed show, so I'll be doing this live
it is
today.
Not. I promise
Why would
you,
we rehearse anything?
It is not rehearsed.
So silly of us. Why would we rehearse anything? So it's unrehearsed.
You just use the
I've done
force.
this for 10 years, so I'm not that worried about it.
You just rely on those midichlorians to deliver the power to you.
I'm pretty deep in the midichlorians, the art midichlorians, and I've been getting them back. That's a Star Wars word, just in case you don't know. On occasion, I meet a person who hasn't seen Star Wars, and so they might not know what a midichlorian is.
Right.
And that's how education driven we are. Is I will stop and think, maybe the whole world knows about Star Wars, but maybe you don't. And that's okay. Well, and a midichlorian is a word from that show.
Yeah, I just heard that like Justin Bieber got arrested and they didn't recognize him or something. They just like didn't know who he was. Something crazy like that. I don't know, some famous person.
Yep. Justin Bieber was arrested and the officer was too young to know who he was.
Isn't that funny?
I mean, I'm Gen X, so I've already been through Metallica in the elevator, and you haven't really suffered until you hear Metallica's elevator music.
Oh, yeah, you're in Macy's, and it's like, wait a minute, isn't that Enter Sandman?
But you know, we do teach art here.
We do. Occasionally.
We do, but we do it in a more social, light way that doesn't feel so heavy, and that helps keep you light so that when you're going through this and you're concentrating very, very hard, we're going to be reminding you that this is, in fact, art.
Yeah, that's right.
And we don't have to be that stressed about it.
We're going to teach some stuff.
These techniques are all pretty learnable. It's pretty doable. So we'll be teaching when we're teaching and laughing when we're laughing, because that's what we do. Let's go over the materials. Yeah. You guys kind of understand what we do here, right?
Do they?
I've done it with
Do we know what we do?
Do we know what we're doing?
I don't. I sit here and push buttons on demand. I'm a
11 by 14 canvas, my friends. In the description below, you will see that there's a link to the website. On the website is a traceable. Now I am going to show you how to put this image in, but you will want to print out the traceable if you're not going to freehand along with me. So you would want to grab that, but I am going to show you freehand and with a ruler how I would get this in. 11 by 14 canvas. I have the colors Mars Black, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Ochre, Phthalo Blue, Cad Yellow Medium. I have Titanium White. I have satin glazing liquid. That's what this ploopy ploop is. And that just slows down the drying time of my paint and allows blending to happen longer. I've got some fluid titanium white here that I will probably do in a couple of places in the Seafoam and stuff. That's just because I'm going to do a little splatter. I'm going to do a little bit of energy, and I like this better for that. But you can just thin white paint with water and do the technique, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Bree Snyder says, I'm the best teachers of art.
I think so.
Well, actually, I said you are the best teachers of art, so I think you're included in this, and I have to agree with that. You have, John pretends to not know, but he has watched thousands of painting videos, so he might actually know. Heather C! Thank you so much, Heather. All right, let's throw up a step.
See, I feel like I'm like Lieutenant Tawny Madison from Galaxy Quest,
where
my job is just to push buttons and repeat back what the computer says.
Now, I want you to come through and measure your canvas in half, vertically, horizontally. You're going to trace in, right? You're going to come in and you're going to draw your line, doot, and doot. You can do it very lightly with pencil, but if you have a heavy hand, I suggest that you use chalk. And what we're doing is we're dividing the canvas into 4 zones or 4 square areas. So this is going to help us keep what's called scale. That's how big things are supposed to be on the painting, to look like what they are. And so I know that, you know, this thing is above scale and this is like in this upper left, and it just helps us map our way through the canvas. Okay, so divide it in half vertically, divide it in half horizontally. Do that with a chalk like this. This is a chalk. This is a Dritz chalk tool. It's in purple and it will vanish into that. Or you can use a very light pencil if you feel like you can keep the pencil marks as light as you need to. Now I'm going to do a bunch of this in paint, and I do it in paint so you can see it at home. All right. Okay, so let's start with the bird. And if you have the traceable, you would use the transfer method now, using either Sarah paper or carbon on the back of your sheet to get the lined image onto your canvas. Okay, I'm going to be here mostly in the lower right with a little visit into my upper right. I'm going to get my brush wet and I'm going to sketch my bird in with a little bit of light burnt sienna. How's that sound? So I'm just taking the brush over, thinning it just enough so it'll flow off. And I'm going to come here, middle of the line, and I'm going to just make a little bump. Once I have that little bump in, I'm going to come down very carefully to the little nose. I'm going to put in the beak. Draw a little line in the center of the beak. Join, join. When I have the beak, I can set the eye right here, about middle of the head. Chin goes in, belly goes out. I'm going to put about 3 of my fingers from the edge of the canvas, and that's going to make sure that my bird is the right height. I need at least 1 inch for legs. So I'm going to bring this little belly around. Another reason I skipped there is so I can put in a little leg. I'm going to be honest, little flat web feet are kind of... I realized I don't paint a lot of aquatic birds. And so the thing that was the most visually challenging for me was the feet. Right. Because I was like, yeah, hey. So I'm just trying to get the little perspective of the little webbed feet here. So that's the little web feet, and I'll work with the shadow. Nice little flat line out for the tail. I'm going to come along the back of the head. Little bump out for the back. And let's do a double bump for the tail. And then I think it's a good idea to sort of give yourself an idea of at least the wing placement a little bit. So that little bird, I'm going to rinse out. Rinse out. And I'm going to grab my yellow ochre and a little burnt sienna. And I kind of got a little watery mix, and I'm going to come here again. This is the lower right square. This is the halfway mark. I'm going to come down about a 1/2 inch from the halfway horizontal line. And I'm going to make a brush stroke over towards the left. Close to the sandpiper bird, I'm going to make a bump. That's my first little wave inlet. Then there's a little slight up, down, up again, down, inlet, bump, inlet, and then I'm going to come to the middle of this area. Okay. So we're doing pretty good. We're getting our zones in. We're like, this is sand. This is going to be water. This is bird. Come in from the top, and I'm going to use my ruler again and just about 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 from the top. Okay, I'm going to take this little ruler here, and I'm going to grab some you don't have to have the glazing liquid. I'm just thinning the paint. I want just a thin line there to be like, hey, this is your horizon line. Come the opposite way. All right, now I'm going to get a little more blue paint. I'm going to come from the left-hand side, a couple inches from the top. And I'm going to make just some little bumpity bumps. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to go up. We're going to be moving towards right here on the center line with little up and down waves. I'm going to go up again. And we'll be almost like a 1/2 inch from the right-hand side. Now on your traceable, I gave you the Seafoam. I gave you everything you would need. And if you're really, really new to painting, you can trace the Seafoam in. But for the purposes of the painting, these are the lines that I feel like I need to hold the whole composition. This is my wave line, and that will still sort of faintly show through when I paint my water in. This is my beach line, and this is my birds. So I've got all my stuff in. That's all we're going to do on that step. Look at us go. Cooking with fire. Now we get to block in the painting.
You ready to start your next step?
Ready to start my next step. We're gonna put in Ready Player Layer 1. I think I will do a couple of things. Around the feet, I'm going to use a round brush. And then everywhere else, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch angle. So let's first mix our color. I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna over to my yellow ochre. The two of these together. And then I'm going to wipe my towel. I'm going to wipe my brush off on my towel and bring a little white over. And that's how I'm going to get my sand color. You just go to your happy with your sand color. Is it more yellow? Is it more brown? And I'll paint very carefully around the bird with my round brush. And then I'll come do big work with my angle brush. Sometimes I do the whole background of the painting before I even do the subject of the painting. But when I'm unsure of a subject, like I haven't painted a lot of sandpiper birds, but I grew up with them in California. But I've done some coots and I've done some ducks a little bit. But when those things are new to me and I don't have a large visual catalog in my brain just sitting there waiting for me to like pull out, then I will put more information in my early process. And that's what this is. This is just information. That's why, and this is kind of why I'm always like, tracing isn't cheating, because you have to paint out so much of what you have anyways. All right, so I've got that. I've given myself a bit of a buffer. If you have a very red burnt sienna, that will impact your sand color, and you might feel like it's a little more flesh tone. And you can add black into the mix to shade it or tone it. Adding a little bit of white into here. I'll get some of my glazing medium so that it flows out, and I'm going to just paint the whole sand area sand color.
Thus, we find the sandpiper in its native environment.
In its native, chase the wave. I love these little birds. So if you've never seen them, they're this fat little round bird that lives at the beach. I don't even know what it eats. And I grew up in California. I should know what it eats, but I don't even know what it eats. I assume little crabs or little isopods or something. And they eat something that comes out during the wave, but puts itself back under, and they chase the waves up and down the beach.
Huh, neato.
Like, just, they're so cute. You know what they are.
I know what they are, but I didn't know what they eat.
They're like hysterical.
They're
I mean, and they move in little groups, and they somehow just, it's like they don't want to get their feet wet.
See, I was not an ocean person, really.
You didn't have exposure to the ocean, or you're just not an ocean person because there's sharks in it?
Gulf of Mexico, it doesn't really provide you with the most inviting beach experience.
I can't believe you're doing this again. Worst troll we ever had is because John talked some smack about the Gulf of Mexico not being the bluest blue, and I got trolled so hard for that.
There's other beaches I've been to that I prefer.
Yeah, but you don't answer the community questions, so like just throwing down with this like Gulf Coast like sentence, and I gotta live with the ramifications, man.
Well, I mean, the sharks are the least of the concerns when you're swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. The oil slicks are going to get you first. Because you can see all of the little drilling rigs right out there, just sprinkled out there. Decoratively
True story.
on the
We're
horizon.
talking Houston, Texas, so you might be living somewhere else and have a different Gulf Coast experience. See, I learned my lesson.
But this little sandpiper is clearly on a nice beach where there's
Yeah.
no
This is
little
a Pacific Coast sandpiper.
drilling rigs out there.
I'm just painting the whole beach. It's just a matter of painting it. I'm not worried about brush directionality here. You'll notice I'm just getting a layer in. This is what's called an underpainting. This is where we sort of paint the values or basic blocked in areas of stuff. And then when we come back, it's a lot easier for us to get the techniques to look rich and voluminous and finished. And it lets us cover our white canvas, which is our first job as painters. Linda Jones is switching to the TV because you can watch me on Roku on the TV, which I think is very, very interesting. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of my blue over here, just a little bit. Wipe off my brush. I'm going to take the smidgiest smidge, see, like a little corner of my burnt sienna into this, and that's going to gray this just a bit. I'm going to wipe this out, and I'm going to make such a light color. It'll be blue, but it'll be even lighter than that. Go even lighter.
Even lighter.
Yeah, it's a very light sky. There we go. Just a little bit of white into that blue. Just along our straight and level water line. Yeah, so if you go to the website and if you're not seeing it pull right up, because sometimes the search engine doesn't always pull up, there's a search on there, just search the word sandpiper, because that'll be the unique search word for the traceable. And I'm sure the moderators can grab the traceable for you guys. If you're having trouble finding the traceable, I'm sure someone can grab a link to it for you.
Yeah.
I'm just painting it a light blue up here. Just covering it up. Now, while it's still wet, I'm going to wipe off my brush and grab some little white. And I'm going to come along here and just add a distant little run of clouds. It's like little circular motions. Sometimes I paint with the corner of my brush. We're going to come back and get this a little more too. I might come in and get this later. It's an inconvenient time to do it now.
An inconvenient sky.
It's an inconvenient sky. Let's give the sky a minute. Give that sky a minute to think about what it's done. Okay. Now I'm going to take my Phthalo Blue, just pure Phthalo Blue, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my titanium white, and this will be my darkest blue. And that'll go all between my horizons and my wave. This is the darker blue. I'm just dragging a line across. I'm just making sure that I got a nice level ocean line. There we go. How you doing today, babe?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. We have
A little lighter than that.
have a lot of fun stuff happening. Our event is coming up, I think, in like 10 days.
Oh, and guess what?
What?
If you check the website in the store, there are October retreat tickets now for sale.
Ooh. Ooh, that's
tell
news.
you guys that yet, but
That's news.
trying to give everybody a chance to get in and get a ticket before they go, because they like as soon as it was on the website, they started selling.
So that's going to be fun. Well, but I'm looking forward to it because we have a lot of our friends coming in town, and like the bug is going to be here. We're going to be doing. There's definitely going to be some midnight coffee drinking and painting and shenanigans.
Shenanigans
And
will be
Sherpagans.
done by all, and my fabulous and spectacular kids, they are going to be in scout camp.
Scout camp. Isn't it convenient that the day before the event starts, it was like the universe just aligned it. They have their first year at going to, it's no longer Boy Scout camp, it's just Scout camp. Because the Boy Scouts, while they are still the Boy Scouts of America technically, legally, I think that they just now go by Scouts of America because they include all genders. So anyone can come and play. So
everybody can scout.
So Luna and Spider both scout now.
Which they very, very much like.
They've got their books. They're doing the merit badges. They're like, we're gonna be eagles just like you. And I'm like, yeah, eagles.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I like the Scouts because they teach a good set of core values.
They do. They absolutely do.
So we've got our darker blue up here. It's a little exaggerated. We may, settle these out as we paint the next layer on. But what we're trying to do is just paint that darker blue. That, so got a beach background. You kind of almost can see the ocean. Kind of a weird thing. Now I'm going to take a little bit of yellow.
A little bit of yellow.
Over to my blue. And then I'm going to add a lot of white. I think even more white and a smidge of yellow. And then along my little wave. And I'll paint all the white in with this aqua color. See how it's distinctly aqua? I might grab a bigger brush so that it doesn't take me so long to paint this whole thing, this aqua green. Let's grab a little bit of that. Let's grab a little bit of that. A little bit of this. A little bit of that.
Oh, thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you very much.
Just a little bit of white here. Smidge the yellow in if you can. And again, I'm just painting this in. Acrylic is a layering art form. And all the different techniques I demonstrate, I demonstrate different techniques almost every painting so that you guys become versed adept painters. The thing about acrylic is that it's so layering and there's so many different ways to get the layers in. And I love showing you guys different ways to get the layers in. I'm not worried about brush directionality yet. Soon it will be very important. Right now I'm just trying to get rid of the white. So I'm making the blue-green and then I add a lot of white to it to get the aqua. Little glazing liquid to improve the flow.
Happy little pipers.
Yeah, usually these guys are in a group, so it's sort of fun that this is a lone piper.
The lone piper.
Well, sometimes you'll see that, like one lone sandpiper, but it is a weird thing to see because they actually usually are together.
No, he just
So you'll notice that lone morning sandpiper who's like gotten up for early snacks.
I hunt alone.
I hunt alone. I have actually played like the bug will understand this, being like on the beach in the morning and you like see that lone sandpiper and you just like narrate for it. I am an apex predator. Just painting it all blue. You can see I'm just trying to extend my paint and just have it go, because it doesn't need to be anything particularly but aqua, the dark blue, the beach color, and then we've got the piper to paint in, and then we will have underpainted the painting. It'd be interesting to see if my technique of painting in the underpainting is something you guys like. So this is instead of an acrylic ground, which is a solid thin color. That's kind of generally like a mother color or a contrast color, something that works with the painting. Sometimes I use the corner of the brush if I've got a tight area. You don't have to be too perfect along this little line because it's going to be a foam line. Got lots of foam going on. That's the other reason we can be kind of like a little bit irreverent with some of this, is that the foam breaks our visual line. So that's incredibly helpful. Actually, let's call this a step and we'll paint the underpainting of the sandpiper as a separate thing.
Do you need to dry it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I think I'm going to do.
You dry that.
Yep.
So, while she's drying that, let's see here. We'll go over here and we'll talk about... We have an e-commerce store, but you guys know about that. Oh, links in the description down below. Down there, you're going to find like traceables, reference images, links to our website, which does have our store. We can find things links to our Patreon site, all the things that you might want to know about. We kind of hide down there, links down below. You can always sign up for text messages. We'll put that stuff up there again. Oh, thank you, Ramona. And thank you, guys. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much to all of the people who take the time to give us the thumbs up, the likes, the comments, the subscribes, the sharing, the super chats, and the stickers. You know, that stuff helps keeps our lights on, and we just super appreciate it because we love doing this, and we're really grateful to be able to keep doing it.
Very grateful. Thank you so much for your generous support.
You are the sand below our sandpiper wings.
You are the sand between our sandpiper wings. I don't know how that relates, but that's cute. Shay Joe, if you look, Moderator Rainbow just shared the traceable link for you. So all you have to do is click that and it'll take you right to the website and then save that area. And that's where the traceables are stored. And I put them up there as we go. So it's like a great resource to like bookmark. Okay. But we'll always get you the link because we're friendly like that.
Next step, though, right?
Next step.
Don't you remember that song, "The Wind Beneath My Wings"?
I do.
See, that's the song beneath our sandpiper, because that's, All right, step 3.
Step 3. Let me just... Okay, so we're going to do the different little zones. Different zones. A little white, a little black. And we're going to just make this gray. I'm going to come under the beak. This is just, again, an underpainting.
The underpiper.
The underpiper. What was that Hanna-Barbera character that would go?
Oh, that was Dastardly.
Yeah.
Dastardly Dog.
Dastardly Dog.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little dastardly dog. I'm going to take a little bit of my black and brown together. paint the wing. I'm not going to go up to the head with this dark color. I'm going to actually change it a little bit to just brown.
Smedley.
Smedley, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonna. Deborah says it's maybe Muttley.
Muttley could be it.
Dick
Muttley.
Dastardly's dog, Muttley. There's a couple dogs there. Is that...
Like, it just was like the dog had breathing issues, let's be honest. But
you know, that's the Wayback Machine for cartoons in the morning.
Hey, dude. I remember when they thought that kids wouldn't know that Acme wasn't a real company and that physics didn't work that way. All right. And I'm going to kind of rinse this off. I'm going to go ahead and just get a little bit of my burnt sienna and my yellow ochre, painting the head down into the wing. The wind beneath my wings.
The sand below my sandpiper feet.
Just kind of blend that in there. Just like, I just work it wet into wet. Again, this is just an underpainting. It literally helps me hold my space.
It's very planar right now.
Planar?
Yeah, it's all single dimensional.
It feels like it is.
Because, you know, the background and the middle ground and the foreground are all on the same plane. So it's very
and all in the same kind of value sets.
Yeah, so it's very single dimensional. It's kind of actually very artistically interesting.
I'm gonna take some black and come down. It is artistically interesting. What do you like about it?
That you've crushed the depth of the painting so that it's all right on the surface, causing you to sort of contemplate the sort of whole space differently. Like, you know that it represents this, but it then makes you contemplate the relationships of things differently. Now here all those things are in proportionate relationship to them, so they're not like saying anything particular, but like if you could say something here by making the beach larger or smaller or the bird bigger or smaller, you know. Just thinking.
Y'all notice how I got out of talking there? Just let John do my job.
I don't know. I'm just thinking
no,
it's kind of cool.
I love it. I could just relax and paint. Maybe we should have a lesson where John teaches the lesson and I just quietly paint it and he just explains what I'm doing. I wonder if you would be a better person at explaining me than me. We've been married a long time. You might be. It's very important to me that the beat comes into like that little spot so I can do that. Look at that. Now we've got a sandpiper. Wow, somebody just coming by would be like, does this lady really think those are the same paintings?
I'd be the Attenborough for the Sherpa.
For sure. All right, let's try this too.
All right. So, everyone, take a moment to dry your sandpiper on the beach. Because even if your beach is collapsed into zero depth space, as this background painting is, as this underpainting is, it will get its dimension shortly. Don't worry. We'll add some depth. But you have to be dry because it's built with acrylic paint in layers. Layers, layers, layers. So you have to ready layer 1 by drying it. This is not layer 1. This is like ready layer 4? I think we're on step 4 now, yeah?
I'm going to take some painter's tape and rip off a strip about the length of my canvas. And I'm going to tape my horizon line. Just a little bit of below my messiness. Just trying to get it as level as possible. That's a little challenging because I've got to see it differently. So sometimes I'll pick up and change the position in my view. And I'm just being very specific. Okay, once I have it where I'm happy, rub it down. Rub it down. Burnish it is the fancy word you're looking for. I'm going to take a little bit of my black over to my blue and brown from earlier. Kind of making a gray blue. And I'm going to get a lot of white into that. And I'll just brush this right across here, right up to the tape edge.
Right up to that tape edge.
Right up to the edge.
It's like, that would be the name of this movie if it were the 80s. Your painting show would be called Right Up to the Edge. Painting on the edge.
Yeah, if you don't like happy people, you would not enjoy us. So I'm just painting this across here. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to rinse this out. And while this is still wet, I'm going to grab an interesting brush. I'm going to grab an oval mop. I think I'm going to grab my 3/4 inch oval mop. That'll be fine. I'm going to get it a little bit juicy with the glazing liquid. Get a little bit of my white paint in there. And then I'm going to come here along the edge and just sort of tap in a few little clouds. Little curls. Little C strokes, and then sometimes they go the opposite way. I can always, put little
clouds in the sky.
Little clouds in the sky. These are distant on the horizon clouds. They're just a value lighter. But you can just soften them in. I love to put some weather on my beach in the distance.
That's at a distance.
Okay.
That's another song from that time.
Man, we are on today. What is up with us? Well, let's try this. You investigate what's up with us, and I'll meet you on the other side of this drying session.
Okay.
You're giving me face.
No, So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say to all that other than thank you for being here, guys. We totally appreciate it. Like, this is the most fun we have is doing this live with you guys. I would say there is a, like, we do the Zoom class, which is also a lot of fun. So if you guys are a patron, definitely check that out. The Zoom classes are a lot of fun because we all get together. And I think Lucy was asking what days they happen on. And that kind of changes right now. And for lots of reasons, we move them around. But we always, we try to keep them consistent as we can. And we listen to our patrons about when they want them moved. So oftentimes they do kind of shift around as the seasons shift. But we make sure that they're all available on the after they're done. Like, I've got to upload the last one. I'm still just behind on that, but I've got it ready to upload.
For what?
The last patron video.
Oh,
I've got it ready to upload. I just haven't had a chance to do it.
They did a really fun watercolor.
Yeah.
You guys ready?
For the next step?
Uh-huh. I'm going to peel my tape. Now, hopefully, what I will have is a nice crisp horizon line up to a nice little distant bit of weather. Hopefully. I'm going to take my angle brush. Angle brush. Go ahead, pull out a little bit of my blue. And some of my white. And come along here, and I'm going to make horizontal brush strokes. That are sort of short. See how those are going? Horizontal brush strokes. The nice thing about the horizontal brush strokes is that you leave some of your dark blue underneath and it gives you some of that shadow where you need it, where you even put in the highlights. Then I'm going to put my 1/2" angle brush down and pick up my number 6. This is the number 6 sepia from Raphael. This is a round brush. I'm going to go ahead and just load up some white paint. Maybe a little glazing liquid, but just some white paint. Just white paint, my friends. And I'm going to come along here and brush stroke in some waves. Some distant waves. Distant waves, my friends. Distant waves. Let's call that a step, and let's definitely try it.
Definitely try.
Definitely try it. Definitely try it.
So, yes, we are looking forward to this upcoming event and seeing people, and we've got the October event, and that's going. We got that plan. We're getting next year's events figured out when we're going to do those, and man, it's super good. So many wonderful projects that are coming down the pipeline from our partners around our e-commerce store. Some super fun stuff there happening.
Fun stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it.
You ready for that next step?
I mean, I theoretically am. Let's see how it goes.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to take my oval mop again. I'm going to get a lot more yellow over to my blue. And goodness gracious, just a lot more white. Very light aqua color. And I'm going to come to the center of this little wave, and I'm going to brush this down. Brushing it down and get a little more glazing liquid. Right up here at this point. Oops, that's not enough of the color. There's a little bit of an angle. So the water is pulling in, right? It's pulling up like this. Pulling up like this. It's like somebody grabbed the sheets and they're pulling it up. So we're putting a little bit of a spin on our and then as I'm coming down, I'm going to add a little more blue. A little more blue. I come along here with some darker blue. I'm going to take a second brush here. I want a dry one if I have it. You can use a fan, whatever you've got that's dry. I've been washing brushes, so. The reason is I just want to soften this a little bit. See how we're doing? We're softening it up. There we go. I'm just making sure this is a soft blended transition of little glazing liquid, a little more blue, a little more blue. Right, I'm pulling this back. pulling that back. And you can kind of already see that there's this energy now in the ocean, isn't there? A little white, little glazing liquid, a little more yellow. And then, you know, just a little bit, kind of sweeping that up here. All right, so it's a little lighter again out here. Not white, but lighter. Notice that I've got a sweeping brush directionality. Sometimes I pick up a little more pigment and I just make sure the water has some different little values. Now, interestingly enough, as I come down here, I'm going to get a little bit of black and gray out everything a little bit. It's still blue, but it just has a slightly grayed aspect to it. Oh my goodness. You know, just come along here and make sure you've got nice values. Grab glazing liquid where you need to. Just a little bit of darker, lighter, lighter, darker. Bringing a little more blue over here, and I'm blending this so it's not so streaky. Okay. Once it's blended and you're happy with it, you rinse out your brush. I'm going to come here and I'm going to draw everything.
Again?
All the time.
I can imagine.
All the time drawing everything, everything, everything.
Everything, everything, everything. Keep that painting dry so that as you add the layers, oh my gosh, look at the depth that's appearing from the sky to the waves. Now it's starting to look like in the background. But the little piper still is on the surface of the page. So we'll have to add some more depth here. So I'm looking forward to that on the next one. So thoroughly dry, dry, dry. Don't use heat. You know, I think that's mostly what you need to know. Don't use heat, thoroughly dry. Links in the description down below. And yeah, I think that's what we need to know that break.
What do we need to know?
That there's information in the description down below.
There's so much information in the description down below.
And now for step 7.
For step 7. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of work on my beach a little bit. My beach is a little bit of my burnt sienna, yellow ochre, smidge of black. Let's paint that whole beach up. Just come here and just the second layer on the beach. This is a little more considered. We're thinking a little more about what's here. We want the color to be a little bit richer. Maybe you want to go lighter than this. Just brushing it. A little more white into it and come along this little shoreline. A bit of lighter color. I'm just going to work my beach for a little bit. Brushing in some different values. I can go over the bird. See, I'm not going to lose the bird even if I go over it a little bit. I don't have to have perfect lines here. I've got foam coming through there. I don't have to be perfect anywhere. Nice. So a little bit of light up here along the water's edge, and it can get a little bit darker as it comes back. I grab a little of my brown and black. I'm going to make a little mark here. Kind of another one coming back here, and I'm going to very lightly dust in, and this is hard, guys, a blended shadow. See how that is? Blended. A little bit of shadow coming back. Oh, you know what? I messed up my angle. Let me get my light beach color. I want my angle to be a little more. That's a nice. See how that's just changing a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Back under there. Come along this little water's edge with a little bit of a dark color. Just the corner of my brush. I'm just dusting it. And then back into the light beach color. Just kind of dry brush there. So the shadow's there, but it's just light. Okay. Let's dry everything for a second.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez,
Let's dry it all.
it's a dry time.
And then we'll put some pebble stones in.
That seems reasonable.
Doesn't it seem reasonable to do?
Yeah.
Put some stones in. Put my tape over here where it's not in my way.
Beach stones, not rolling
Beach
stones.
stones. Pebbles are important.
Pebbles, yes. Gotta put the pebbles on the beach. And that will, I think, be what we do next, because that's what she just said. And I'm not the painter. I'm the button pusher. I push the buttons on the board. That's what I do. And I get to read your comments and see you guys chat, which is really nice. I love to read all the comments and stuff as you guys are in here watching. Some of you watch before you paint. Some of you paint while you watch. It's really nice to see all the different people's.
Very good. Let's put out some more white paint. We've got to be running low. I'm running very low.
8.
Next step. Step 8 is great. Let's put out some paint and go. Step 8 is great. Let's put out some paint and go. We're doing good. We're doing really, really good. We're doing okay. Now I'm going to take my round brush and I'm going to get some black. I'm going to add a little brown to it. And come right here, and I'm going to add a pebble. Little round shape. The big trick is you don't have to have as many pebbles as me. You don't have to have all the pebbles, but you got to have some pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
I like to put the dark down, that way when I put the white highlight on it, it helps them pop.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Whenever we paint stones, it's an opportunity to just think about things again. Design. Believe it or not, these are little balancing anchors. Just quiet little pebble painting. Quietly painting pebbles.
It's a good thing to do at this stage of the game.
It's the only thing to do at this stage of the game.
Be a pebble person.
Be a pebble person, and it's just more pebbles than you think you need. A dangerous thing, if you've taken my advice about like getting a digital painting program to like do art, you know, on your free time or whatever, like while you're sitting there. But if you do it while you're watching TV and you're making pebbles, what I'll say is sometimes you lose track of time and you make too many pebbles. Like, let's make all the pebbles. I'm going to put something over here just because it bugs me it's not there. Okay, and then I'm going to come along here and along this little edge, I'm going to make a very fine dark line. Hopefully it will remain when we paint the wave, but what I will tell you is that we can always put it back. It will help you with wave weight. Like already the water has weight because we're shading it. So this is very unclear visually because we don't have the seafoam in it in our final shading, but this is starting to become clear visually. So now I've got a nice little shadow coming on that. And rinse out. Bring a lot of white over here. Just a lot. And kind of not a perfectly like white, but like pretty white. Isn't it crazy how the light part of the stone really just brings the stones all together? I missed a couple here, so I'll just... highlight the tops of the stones. There we go. Just making little exaggerated little river rocks.
Yeah.
Little round stones waiting for kindness rocks to come find them and then paint them and then leave them in neighbors' yards. A nice little grouping of sand pebbles, though. Now I'm going to add some shadow back to the ones that I missed. A very fine line. There we go. So I'm happy with that balance of pebbles. Let's call that a step. And we don't want to smudge our pebbles, and we put out the paint fairly thick. Oh, wait, I missed
You
one.
definitely need to dry it.
Yeah, I do want to dry it just so that when I go to put in the other stuff, I'm not, you know, just adding a little more highlight to the... Dry it. Try it.
Time to dry.
Dry it.
All right. So, for all of you who are just joining us, welcome to this thing we call the Art Sherpa, where we paint and hang out and be social and learn to be just cool painter people, I guess. I don't know. I hadn't rehearsed this. I've only done this like a billion times. I should know more better what to say. But I don't. Because my job is to push buttons, not to be prepared to say stuff, I guess. Well, maybe it is sort of to be prepared to say stuff. But clearly, that was not my strong suit. You know. So, here we are.
Here we are. Here we go. What do? We know it's true.
Step 9.
Step 9. We're going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead and get a little white paint onto my brush. And I'm going to start by coming along here. Come up to the top of the bird's head. And then I'm going to draw a little opening. I draw a little opening coming over from the right. These openings will stay blue. And perhaps a little bit of one here. Thicken up that foam. Thicken it up, thicken it up. Brush it off here. Just join these over here and then paint all of that in the Glazing liquid if I need it. White. Now you can always put in a keyhole if you lose it, like I just lost that keyhole. So
Right.
what I can do is I can come back with blue and add it back in. It's actually pretty chill to do. Let's just come here to the blue. See how we're doing? And watch, we can paint that back in, can't we?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm going to come here and say that this foam comes down the beach. Say this is the center.
Yeah.
Let's wander that down that way. Let's give ourselves a nice big keyhole opening of foam here. Then I'm going to take this up this way, up towards this area over here. Just starting to get those little patterns in. And this is really where we've got to just slow down. Look, I'm not even a copy machine for myself, so
Right.
just know that it's okay if there's little differences in your seafoam from my seafoam.
Sure.
That's completely okay. And the colors are so easy to work with, right? It's just easy to put anything back where we want it somewhere else. Sometimes glazing liquid can be nice if you're having trouble with the paint flowing out. And I'm just using my round brush because it gives me control.
And control is good.
Control is everything. Go ahead and get into some of my aqua color. Get another little pop of blue. right? So we're just trying to just showing little openings in the seafoam. Hey, babe, can I get a kombucha? Thank you. I'm gonna rinse out for a bit and just continue along this front edge. Now remember, you can always come back and put a shadow back in. There we go. Oh, thank you so much, babe. Thank you. Oh, it's kombucha today. Cap. Got my fuel now. Now this little line kind of comes across here. Now I'm going to do something kind of surprising here. I'm going to paint all of this in white and then put the holes in after. Let's take the angle brush that we have, the 1/2 inch angle, just paint that all in white. Let's just add this paint right here to the edge of the light value. So by putting the foam in first and then adding the holes, it's a way to handle a very complex area in the painting.
Very complex.
Yeah, it is. It's very complex. We'll let it sit there for just a sec. And then I'm going to come through and I'll grab some of my aqua color, some of my watercolor, and then also some of my beach color. We're going to be going.
Yeah.
You can always come and get a little gray. Add a little shadow. We'll be getting into those in a second that way. Let's put another little. Well, that's too dark. So I wasn't paying attention to my palette and I grabbed some paint. The trick is I'll just grab some white. Blend that out as a little hole. Just has a slightly different value.
Oh, Ramona tried some kombucha yesterday.
Did you?
That's interesting.
Ramona, you're drinking more water? That is wonderful. And boy, I love kombucha, so I hope you're enjoying it too. Okay, down here I'm going to actually come into my beach color.
To the beach color.
It'll be slightly darker. And the reason for that is that the sand would be wet. And we'll definitely have to shade. Let's get some dark color here. Let's get some black. Get a little bit of black. So see, we're just creating a little shading on some of that seafoam. If it's too stark, you just come back with your watercolor. Blend in a little blue. Right, so I'm doing, I'm blending in a little blue, and that's gonna help that a little bit. I'm just shading all my seafoam for my friends as we go painting. Okay, a little bit of a kind of peak here, and then a little round shape here. I'm gonna grab a little bit of my watercolor. Grab a little bit of black. So we are just cooking with fire now. It's complex. So this is one of those paintings that's simple and complex. This nonsense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Complex. The feather pattern? Complex. The painting itself kind of simple in design. All right, getting some just different colors in the water. Let's put holes in the ocean. Just adding a little bits of seafoam. I can always come and get a little dark color. Shade up those holes a little bit. Let's make them look a little nicer by blending them in.
Yeah.
Let's make them look a little nicer. I'm going to grab a little bit of my gray color. Let's put some blue in it. I'm going to add a little bit of gray to my foam. Maybe out here I just add a little bit of blue to the water.
Yeah, it adds just a little bit of
Dimensionality.
yeah.
Inside the holes. Rinse out. Let's grab some more white and highlight this edge here. You guys have that. You can do that. I'm going to kind of put this down where there's just a nice white. I'm just making sure the gray is a little blended. So it's not just a stripe of gray. But I do like shading the seafoam. Just enjoy doing that. All right. That was a lot. Let's just take it. Let's break here, sip some kombucha, and then get into the
That seems
continue on. But it's a lot what we've done. This is a lot.
Take a you dry it?
Yes.
And then we'll have a little chat?
Yes.
Okay. Little man, that's a beach has dimensionality, the waves getting dimensionality, and the birds just looking at you like, what's going on? So it's going to take another step or two to get there, but this is looking super good. This is really liking this quite a bit. So there we are. Gotta get your little juices.
Getting my little juices going.
You're going to take a sip before you go?
Yes, thank you.
That's okay. Just want to make sure that you're...
I think I'm going to have to up this to a 3 hoot.
You may have to up this to a 3 hoot, but that's okay.
Not for difficulty, but for time.
Time, right. I can see that.
It's slow work.
All right, well, I'm gonna run some dad duty here for a minute.
Okay.
Give me a step.
Give me a step and run some dad duty, and I'm going to brush in. I'm going to take my glazing liquid and my oval mop, and I'm going to take some of my watercolor. And I'm going to brush that in right here with glazing liquid. The reason I'm doing that is I want to blend wet into wet. I may also glaze over. I'm going to take a little blue glaze over some of that up there, and maybe, again, this is a glaze. So what this is doing is it's helping my foam be different levels of bright. Just glazing along there just so that it's not so stark. To the eye, to the eye. Then I'm gonna get a little white or off-white glazing liquid, and let's bring a little line in from that. Right, thicken that up, thin that out. Come up a little bit. And then a little down. Thicken some of that. So we're just trying to get all the little seafoam in. Now let's get a little bit of a light value here. Just kind of. There we go. Just a little bit. Just running that little line through there. We're just creating the little runs of seafoam. Maybe make a little tiny opening there. And there we go. Just little blue green, so I'm just kind of shading the foam. Just playing with it. I love everyone that's here right now. I know I'm focused on the class, but I really appreciate your time and effort. Just gonna add some seafoam there. Just seafoaming in. Seafoam, seafoam, seafoam. I seafoam, and then I saw foam. Okay, I come over here, and I'm getting a slight kind of a little bit, and then joins there, and maybe comes a little bit off the canvas there. Just adding the little breaks and little moments in the foam. A little dry brushing in heavier, and then kind of bring that down. So we're just starting to get that little seafoam in. Grab a little more white. A little more white over there. Strengthen it up. It's almost a dry brushing over here. I'm letting a lot of the canvas kind of show through. Kind of just be there. Now, while this is having a little bit of a dry, we can take some of our light ocean color and a lot of glaze, and just make sure that these are just slightly knocked back up here in the wave. Just not bright, the brightest of bright whites that you've ever seen. That's I'm gonna get a little bit of white onto my brush. I'm gonna come here and kind of smudge that because I feel like it's not working there. Oh, I like that better. Got to get it to read correctly. Now, I think I need a little bit of Seafoam here. Making some other little lines of Seafoam. If any needs just a nicer paint, you can hit it then. Just giving it the nicer paint. Let's put some white paint out on our palette. Let's put some white paint out on our palette. There we go. I am ready for a hair dry. So we're going to be doing a hair dry. So John's going to come down and pause. I'm going to dry everything and then we'll get the top of the wave.
So, if you are just joining us, I am off over in the other room doing coffee things because we are approaching coffee witching hour, which is the time at which I can no longer sleep if I have coffee. So, to satisfy my brain, which says you want to drink more of that nummy stuff, I'm gonna make some. So, as soon as she's back, I'm gonna impatiently go coffee. I'm gonna go make some. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna wait here impatiently. And like, come on, how long does it take to dry paint? Okay. Now I'm gonna go back to making my coffee.
You are?
I am.
I love
you
it.
Can have step 11 to think about.
11, and I'm going to grab a fan brush, a number 4 fan brush. You just want a small fan brush. If you don't have a fan brush, you could use a Deerfoot stippler or one of your bristle brushes, or if you needed to, a D brush. So you've got brushes here you could totally use, but I'm going to use a fan brush. And I am going to take a little of my blue and a smidge of my black and make kind of a blue-gray. Get some glazing liquid so it's not drying out on me. And then I'm going to take my white into this. And I mix my first foam color, which is just off-white. I need a little more black. I can just work that in there. So this is a bit in shadow. Make sure it's off my brush, and then I'm going to come here to this upper edge. And sometimes I'm going to flick up, and sometimes I'm going to brush down. Kind of thick there. It's not our brightest white. And I'm getting a little repetitive here, so I'm going to come on the corner. Sometimes you want it to be thin on a wave. If you want it to feel like a real wave, you want the foam to be a little thin on your wave and then go thicker in places. And just push that up here. Okay, so once I have that in, I'll load back up with a little bit of white and just brush some energetic highlights, tip, tip, tip. If you're having trouble getting the paint out the way you want, you can dry the canvas. What I generally want is a couple values of white. Painting it out quite thick. And that's also because I want the water to have motion and energy. Coming here along the little... I'm going to be real expressive here. Okay, when I have the highlight on my wave, I'm going to rinse out. And then this is a bonus step. You don't have to do this one. I just think it will make a difference. I'm going to take golden fluid acrylic paint in titanium white. I'm going to pour it out. You can thin your paint, your water paint, your white paint with water if you don't have this. But I do. I'm going to take a toothbrush, kind of load it up here. And I'm going to get real close to the canvas and make some little splatters. I like that. It just makes the wave just much better. Splattering down. See, that's lovely. There's the wave kind of crashing in that weird way. There we go. Look at that. Look at that line of wave. Isn't that just magic? Just magic. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to grab, I think, probably my Deerfoot stippler. And I'm going to take a little bit of my white to my yellow and where my blue is. And I'm going to make a very, very light color. This is super aqua. I'm going to rinse out my, not rinse out, I'm going to dry out my brush. More yellow, and I'm going to make sure that I got a nice little... I'm going to brush this down a bit. Oh, can't right now. I'm going to get more glaze and liquid on this. Just want a little bit of a highlight here, but that ended up being too much and I'm not loving it. So I'll blend it in. And it's not some nice energy, but it's not quite the look I was going for. However, I'm going to blend this in. Just kind of creating some energy in the wave here. With a little bit of light green coming through. I'm going to dry everything. Let's dry it.
Dry, dry, dry. Dry, dry, dry. It's an important part of the painting process. But man, look at that wave come in there. The tip of that wave just looks so cool. It's got the dimensionality now. It's no longer a flat planar painting. We now have dimensionality between the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. But the bird does not seem impressed. He's still like, I'm an underpainting, yo. All right, you ready for a sip?
I think I'm ready for a sip. I think I'm ready for a sip. Is this my have teaching energy sip of coffee? Wouldn't it be funny if I spilled it all over myself in the painting? How to clean acrylic. Unexpected lesson. Do we have any questions?
Let me go over and look. I was making cappuccino, so I don't know. Let me look. Happy woof woof, Sophie. I'm not sure. There's a birthday, Sophie. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Saudi.
Actually, if it's your birthday today, whenever you're seeing this video, happy birthday. I'm wishing you a happy birthday.
You're enjoying some of your birthday present right now.
I am. It's lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at that. Look at that. So delicious.
Little cup of warm loveliness.
Oh, it's so good. I think I might. No, I think I'm okay.
The best part
That's all I can do.
That's okay. Yep.
Sorry to have to hand it to you. I don't have anywhere for it. I don't want to get cadmium in it. All right, rinsing my brushes out, putting them someplace safe. And now, here we are.
Okay.
I think I want to take a little bit of my blue.
Earlier you were talking about flicking up or brushing down.
Flicking up and brushing down.
And brushing down.
So I was flicking it down and flicking it up so the water is going this way and that way and this way and that way and this way and that way. I'm going to get some glazing liquid. And I'm going to just make sure that there's a slightly darker value. See how I'm creating that little shadow on the wave?
Oh, I can see it.
I think that's all I need. A steeper wave, but it's fine. Run, bird. The ocean has gone stormy. It's time for you to cook it. Okay. Now that I have that done, I'm going to put my glasses back on.
All right.
Glasses back on. I'm going to find one of my detail brushes. This is my number 2 detail brush. And I'm going to grab a little of my white over to my black. And get like kind of like a nice gray on there. And I'm going to come to the top of my little beak here to that center line and add that little gray. And then the under half is going to be quite dark. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of light. So there we go. Looking really good. I'm also going to grab a little black. And I'm going to go ahead and try to deal with the feet early, because they're going to give me grief. Little line down, little line down. See, they're like webbed and they're pointing away from us. It really is going to be in the highlights. So I'm going to grab my brush again. I'm going to take the black off of it, but not really rinse it, I don't think. Come and sneak up on my white paint over here. And I'm going to come to the outside. Oh, goodness gracious. I got to get it just so fine. Going to come to the outside here. The outside of that leg. I know that seems silly that I was like that.
No, not at all.
But that's just to show the feet being a little bit kind of facing that other way. While I'm at this, I'm going to grab a little bit of my white over to my sand color. Sand color. I'm going to keep using my small brush. And I'm going to start to paint.
You're going to Piper the bird.
Piper the bird. Short strokes that are going to be showing kind of some of the brown underneath. Now I'm going to wipe my brush off. I think the easiest way for me to accomplish this is a filbert or D-brush to create the patterning of the wings in a scaling, and then I'll detail them with lining, is what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a small D-brush. This is a number 4. I'm going to check the feather width. I think that's okay. Grab a little bit of yellow and red and come here and see if I can't do a big feather. Just coming here and trying to get these little feathers put in. Short little brush strokes. And then I'm going to come into my black. Bring that up there because that's into the tail. Okay. Rinse off. Detail round, right? Get my white paint. That was the fluid white for the splatter. Grab my round brush, and I think I'm going to paint out the light outer lining. I think that's a little strong. Let me. So I just used clean water, and since the bird was dry underneath, I was able to erase. There we go. Just a little, I wanted it a little like lighter. Just trying to get those little wing lines in there. Just a little wing. And then I think I want to come here into my yellow ochre. Kind of brush this out a little bit with my number 4.
Right, yeah.
Right into the body. All right. And then rinse. Because I can always come back through and add little pops of black and brown.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't hurt me, yo, just like little pops of color right there. Just a little patterning. I can always come in with grab some glazing liquid if you're having any problems with your flow. Can always come through with a little black. I said a little. Just brush back a little of the black on the feathers. Painting a little sandpiper bird on the beach. A white highlight along the little dots.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of this highlight into the face here. Push back. A little brushing down. Okay. So into my number 4. I'm going to take a little of my black and a little of my white. Little short strokes. Then you take a little bit and kind of fling it over the wing. Little white highlights. It's a little grayer down back here, and then it gets lighter and brighter up towards the front.
That's cool.
All right, let's dry him thoroughly, and let's finish up the head and face where we can. I might need to lengthen the wing into the tail a little bit.
That sometimes you have to make some little adjustments to your bird as you go to adjust for proportions. Sometimes that happens. So just know that if you would like to have this reference image or the traceable so you can do this, they're available on our website, theartsherpa.com, or in the link in the description down below.
Below. Number 2, Raphael Precision. Let's go. Grab a little bit of brown and black kind of stuff, and we're going to come along here and make short little marks that kind of pull that in. I'm going to grab some white gray. Rinse that off. Let's get some white on here. A little bit of white right there. Kind of at the back of that little eye. A little white here. He's looking cute.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a little bit of brown. Add a bit of a feather into that wing. Just because I got off my line a little bit.
Right.
So you see me just wiping off on my towel and not even rinsing out my brush. A lot of times when I'm making a repair, some highlights there, I will just wipe off my brush rather than repairing my, wipe off my brush rather than rinsing. And I get a little bit of white on here. A little bit of white on here. Blend it out a little bit. Smudge it. See, I'm just nudging it. I'm fussing at it. You can fuss at your stuff. It's totally okay. Fuss away, fuss away.
Huh.
All right, then I'm going to grab a little bit of a reflection in that eye. Maybe. There we go. A little bit of lid reflection. We're just owning it. Doing so good. A little bit of line along the beak. Just so that it has nice contrast and everything. All right, what step are we on?
Let's see here. We're currently on step 13.
Okay, we got a step 14. Yay!
All right, one more step.
You know how I hate to have only a step 13.
I know.
Though I have learned to get over it. Because sometimes I just don't want to paint another step. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
All right. So I'm going to take my glazing liquid and come over here and I'm going to get a little black.
Now we want to do another step? Step now?
Yeah, step now. We're not going to end on 13. We're going to end on 14.
14. Here we go. Step 14.
And I'm going to take a little bit of my black.
Let me see what you're doing down there.
And using my glazing liquid, I'm going to just... And I might even with my finger blend it out.
Just to give a little shadow to ground the piper. Or to sand the piper. Because he's not on the ground, he's on the sand.
Yeah, I like this better. So it's a more sensible shadow. I don't know what I was thinking earlier.
You were thinking that was a good shadow, but you changed your mind.
I changed it. I'm gonna... just a slightly darker kind of... Just making him like a little bit less noticeable. Here we go. So let's get up over that. I think that's nice, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, just to make sure there's good differential, I'm going to take some black right here. Just make sure that my gray is somewhat visually different than the black. Run this out. This, I don't know where I put my little teeniest, tiniest brush. There you are. There you are. Bring it over to the sand color. Make a light sand color. Lighter than the sand that you have here.
Oh, you're going to sign there?
This weekend, we have the puppies.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a big one. It's also going to be a fun one. In some sense, easier than this, because this had a lot of techniques and everything in it that was just involved that we haven't taught before. I'm not like... Oof.
Lovely.
I think it came out wonderful.
I think you did too.
I'm pretty happy with today's painting session. Let me take my glasses off so I can see all of you.
Yeah.
That would be weird, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness. So how are you feeling? How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. This turned out awesome.
It did. It came out really good.
A nice little sandpiper day.
It's a nice little sandpiper painting. And you've got the traceable, but we also freehanded it out. So you've got both of those options there, whichever you want to do. Lots of fun techniques, lots of introductions to things. First sandpiper we've ever painted. So I'd call it a bonus day all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so what's going on in our world? What's coming on in our world is that the retreat, everything you saw here is for sale in my store. If you like free art lessons, there's 2,500 of them there, and I would do them 3 times a week. So hit that subscribe button because that's just pretty awesome. And we're always fun like this. And then I think that's all the things.
I think so.
I think that's the. Oh wait, no. The last thing is Acrylic August is coming. So get ready because remember we got the 31 day painting challenge coming up. For 31 days, we're going to meet up every day and paint something different. Every day, starting August 1st. So if you've been wanting to level up your art and you've been wanting to do the challenge, this is a great year. If you're a newer painter, this is a good year to come in and do the challenge as a newer painter. And so I think that I'm hoping a bunch more guys would get in there and paint with us and everything. So there's that coming up too. So I hope to see all of you for Acrylic August. Saturday, we're painting poppies. And then Tuesday, we're painting a rose. And then Thursday, I think we're going to have something special surprise for you guys.
Surprise.
Something unexpected that you all will like. And that you're going to enjoy. So I'm very excited to be sharing that with you Thursday. So save the date for that. And that's all I have to tell you guys. Just appreciate you guys being here. And then, Lewis says, absolutely gorgeous and great tutorial. I'm so goodness. And then Shay Joe's like, every day. Every day. This will be our 5th year doing the challenge, Shay. So since when did we start this? A
long time ago.
Yes.
In a galaxy far away.
So we started this. We normally do it in April from April 1st to April 30th. And this year I couldn't do it because of health reasons, so I moved the event to August, which just gives everybody an extra day. And it's a painting we do every day. It's a huge event. It's entirely free. I'm not telling you about something you have to pay for. Only the art retreats are things that you've got to pay for. And only the art retreat people paint as much as they come, and they paint a lot. So that's sort of all the things that are happening in our world. I hope your world is good. I want you to be good to yourself. I want you guys to be good to each other. And I will see you at an easel real soon. Bye-bye.